Yes, going to the doctor. Hi, I'm Reverend Jack Elliott, and I wanted to take some time today to talk to you about being your own advocate when you go to the doctor. I came back to the office today because I just had an experience that I'm sure that many of you have had when you've gone to the doctor. You know, I had an ophthalmology appointment 2 weeks ago, and it was my annual checkup, and I went in to see my ophthalmologist, and I was pleased because I had my prescriptions ready. I had my notes for what I'd experienced in the last year, and I met with the ophthalmologist. And when I showed him the eye drops that I was taking, he said, "Where are the rest of them?" And I said, "Well, I only have one bottle, and that bottle has a purple cap. If you remember, a year ago, I was taking eye drops with a green cap and a yellow cap, and you decided that that was not an adequate medication in order to bring the pressure down in my eyes." "No, that's not what I said," responded the ophthalmologist. And I said, "Well, I would offer that I wouldn't have this bottle now had you not prescribed it." And he turned and was typing in his screen, and he typed in the words, "Pressure at 25 rather than the desired 19 due to patient being non-compliant." And I said, "Excuse me? Non-compliant. I don't understand what that means." He goes, "Well, no, you were to take the eye drop with the yellow top and the turquoise top every morning and evening, and in the evening you were to add the bottle that you have with you to your nighttime regimen and take all 3 drops." And I said, "Doctor, I disagree. Because when you prescribed the medication, wrote the prescription, and I went to the pharmacy to get it filled, had you ordered all 3, I would have picked up all 3. And I was treated with a response of, "Uh-huh." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to ask that you repeat the instructions as you would want me to do them from this moment forward. All we have is right now." And so that is one place I want to park just a little bit for you. Oftentimes, when we are confronted with someone who disagrees with us, whether it be a younger person who really doesn't see life the same way that we do, I want to advocate that you stand in your truth and say, "Stop, just a moment. That's not my experience. What do we do now going forward to put in the correction?" So, my physician said, "You need to take all 3 drops. You need to take the turquoise drop, you need to take the yellow drop, and you need to take the purple drop." "Okay, I can do that going forward." And he goes, "Well, it may be too late. Because you've been non-compliant, we are now at a point where we may have to add the 4th drop, or we may need to refer you to the specialist." And I said, "Excuse me, time out. I have been seeing you for the last 3 years to treat my diagnosis of a glaucoma in my eye, and now for the very first time you are telling me that there is a specialist that I could have been seeing?" "Well, yes, but you don't go to the specialist until we have exhausted every other option." "Ah, not acceptable to me. I would like a referral immediately to see the specialist. Well, we would really like to try the fourth drug. No. I must insist that I can get a referral. Is there any reason why I cannot get a referral? Well, no, I can refer you, but we could really try the drops first. No. I want to see the specialist. So he made the appointment with the specialist. The following week, I had my appointment with the specialist. I go to meet with the specialist. The specialist examines my eyes. He turns and he looks at the electronic report and pulls it up, and the very first thing he reads aloud, "Oh, Mr. Elliott, I see that you've been non-compliant to taking your medication." And I said, "Doctor, I must protest. That has not been my experience. My experience is that I was following the instructions exactly as they were prescribed to me. Would you please modify that electronic record to show that I disagree and that I followed the instructions as I believe them to be?" Well, we typically don't add what the patient says in these comments. Oh, I would like that to be the exception in this case. I'm advocating for my own experience. Would you please modify the record to show that it is my understanding that for the last 12 months, I have been compliant to the regimen prescribed to me as I knew it to be? And he did. Now, when he looked at my eyes and did the examination, he gave me some instructions and said, "Okay, for the next 60 days, there is an eye drop that I want you to take, and if it does not work in the next 60 days, then we will have to look at the alternative of surgery. Can you be compliant to that?" And then I remembered in that moment that at Elder Pride, at what we teach, is the 4 agreements. To be impeccable with my word, to not take anything personally, to not make assumptions, and to do my best always. I felt that I had been impeccable with my word. In fact, I was an advocate that my word be recorded as I knew it. I did not take it personally. I did not find any reason to throw the other ophthalmologists under the bus. I didn't want to blame anyone. I merely wanted to put in the correction from that moment on. And he said, "You're going to lose your sight. It is really just a moment in time, and knowing the exact moment in time when that might happen. So we want to do everything that we can do to freeze it as it is right now." And then I thought of that 3rd agreement. Don't make assumptions. I am not going to assume that I'm going to lose my sight. In fact, I know that I'm going to be impeccable with my word. I'm going to honor my prescription regimen, and I am going to affirm a different outcome. So I said to the ophthalmologist, "Doctor, I want to know who had a successful outcome to this surgery." And he had to stop and think. He had been so used to painting the negative story that it was not easy for him to even recall a time when the surgery was successful or when there was an improvement for someone, because, after all, to cover his own self and his own protection, his own liability, it was essential that he give me the worst case scenario. So I reminded him that I was not going to make the assumption that I was going to lose my sight. In fact, I was going to honor that 4th agreement and to do my best always. To do my best always is my commitment to honor the regimen, the prescription, as he recommended from that moment on. I asked the ophthalmologist, I said, do you have an elderly parent in your life? And he goes, yes, I take care of my elderly father and I take care of my elderly mother. And I said, thank you. What I ask of you is that you tell me exactly what you would be telling them in this moment and now. Is if they were in this chair right here where I'm sitting, what would you be telling them? And he took a deep breath and he goes, well, I would tell them to do their best, to take the medication as prescribed, and they will keep watch. We won't wait 12 months to check in. In fact, we'll check in 60 days and see where we are. Would that work for you, Mr. Elliott? Absolutely. As I walked away and took the prescription that he gave me to the pharmacy to have it filled, the ironic thing that I noticed is they were a very different prescription than what the ophthalmologist had recommended just a week ahead. So I felt that Spirit had guided me to put in the correction, to know what was mine to do, and most of all, to be my own advocate. And so that's what I want to empower you to do with this Sage Talk. Be your own advocate. When you go to the pharmacy, when you go to the doctor, have a plan. Write out the questions that you want to have answered. Make sure that you understand the instructions and ask them to print the instructions out to give to you. Then, once your appointment is over, we all have the ability to email our physicians now, our specialists now. I recommend that you email your summation of the appointment that you just had. Thank you, doctor. You prescribed 2 new eye drops. You asked me to take them each morning and each evening. I will be happy to do that. I will set up the appointment now for our follow-up in 2 months as you requested. If I've gotten anything wrong, please let me know as soon as possible. Here's my return email address. Here's my phone number. Let me know. Then you have done your due diligence. You have been and will be your own advocate for your own health. Thank you for joining us for this Sage Talk. I hope it was beneficial. And if it was, I hope you will like, share, and tell someone else about it. I love to read your comments. I hope you enjoyed the presentation we just provided you. And I'm going to invite you to visit elderprideforme.org. That's our main website. We are here to support our elders to grow old, to age forward with grace and ease. I hope you will go and read the blogs, watch the videos, and see all that is offered for you at elderprideforme.org. And if you find benefit from today's talk, or if you find benefit for something that you read at elderprideforme.org, I hope you will click on that donate button. Your donation makes all of this possible. Thank you in advance for your giving. Now, go have a great day. We'll see you soon.